The sound wasn't a slap, it was a crack, sharp, sudden, final. My mother staggered back, her hand on her cheek, her eyes full of tears she refused to let fall. She didn't say a word, she just looked at me. And I didn't move, not yet. Across the room, my wife stood tall, smiling like she'd just won a game no one else was playing. Like mother, like son, she laughed. Both useless. Her father chuckled behind her, sipping wine like it was a victory toast. Well, he said, she needed to learn some shame. I looked at him. He didn't flinch. Neither of them noticed the tiny red light still glowing on the microphone clipped to her dress. Neither of them knew I had hardwired the entire room. Nor did they realize the entire conversation, this slap, the insults, the laughter, was being broadcast to the venue's master audio feed. They thought this was their stage. They had no idea they were already part of the show. It had been building for months. Tension that hung in the air like smoke, thick, choking, unspoken. My mother had warned me, quietly, gently, repeatedly. There's something about her, she'd whispered once while drying dishes in the kitchen. Something cold behind the charm. I'd defended my wife then, said she was under pressure, misunderstood. I was a fool. The signs were everywhere. The subtle snubs, the way she isolated me from family events, the bitter jokes masked as humor, always at my expense. My brother's wedding, she forgot to RSVP for us. My mother's birthday, she scheduled a fake business trip. It wasn't neglect, it was calculated, and I let it happen. Because I didn't want to see it, didn't want to believe I married into manipulation. But then, my mother called me in tears. Not over the slap, not yet. She had overheard something, a conversation, my wife and her father, talking about ending the cycle, about shaming her for good, about taking the house too. Something twisted inside me then. I didn't cry, I listened. I started recording the next day. Every phone call, every dinner conversation, every private joke between her and her father. It was like peeling the skin back from something rotten. The more I heard, the clearer the picture became. They'd planned to separate me from my mother, from my family, from anything that gave me strength. She called it freeing me. What she meant was controlling me. I remained silent, sat through their dinners, their smug smiles, their smug laughter. I installed hidden microphones, hid a small cam behind the bookshelf. I watched her flirt with the lawyer she said was just a friend. But I wasn't collecting evidence for a divorce, not yet. I was building a weapon. The final test came when I left my mother's birthday card on the counter. Just a simple note. I never mailed it. That night, she tore it in half and threw it in the trash. "Old hag doesn't deserve it," she muttered. That's when I set the dinner. Invited friends, her family, my mother, booked the venue, wired the microphones, laced the room with truth. The moment she slapped my mother, I didn't react. I let it hang in the air. Let them speak their lines, her insult, his approval. Then I reached under the table, pressed one button. The speakers clicked, then played back her voice, clear, cruel, undeniable. "We'll embarrass her tonight, humiliate her. He'll fold. He always folds." A gasp rippled across the room. Another voice followed, her father's. "Just make sure the old witch loses it, publicly. Then we move on the estate." Silence. Total silence. Even the clinking cutlery froze. She turned pale. He stood, trying to speak, but the crowd had heard every word. My mother stood tall again, chin high, the mark on her cheek now a symbol. I finally rose. and I looked at my wife like she was already gone. I walked over to her.